That's why, while I don't want to be in federal court going through this, it's the last place in the world that I wanted to see myself at this point in my career and in my life. It is probably one of the safest places to be because you have the protections that are afforded you of the American judicial system.
Safe? What protections? Orange County Sheriff Mike Carona thinks he's safe under the federal judicial system? He has another thing coming.
But once an indictment is issued, statistics show that it's a very short and quick road to prison at the federal level with very little checks and balances.
In Part 1 of this series, Full Disclosure questioned the process of the indictment of Orange County Sheriff Mike Carona. Now in Part 2 and 3, we're questioning whether federal prosecutions can be abused for political reasons. Former federal prosecutor John Handzlik shares this concern.
I'm deeply troubled by the allegations that have been made as a result of the Alberto Gonzalez issue involving the U.S. attorneys, because it goes really to the core of the mission of the Department of Justice to do justice in an even-handed way. Politics have no place in the process, that is to say, in the selection of people to prosecute and how tough to be with them. That should not be a political decision. It should be made based on the facts and the law.
But our guests explain that under the federal system, an indictment is so easy to obtain. And then, as attorney Mark Allenbaugh explains, once indicted, targeted individuals are intimidated into plea agreements by the crushing federal sentencing guidelines, whether guilty or not.
The government is given a lot of leverage under the federal sentencing guidelines to push defendants to plead guilty in exchange for a more lenient sentence. So that's why so few cases go to trial.
What checks and balances are there to prevent abuse, prosecutorial abuse, at the federal level?
I'm tempted to say virtually none, but that would not be accurate. Of course, the U.S. Department of Justice has its own guidelines that prosecutors must follow. They have units that investigate prosecutors for doing things improper and for using abusive behavior or using the process in the wrong way. Unfortunately, from my point of view, federal prosecutors are not subject to very much guidance and control. And as a result, they have a tremendous amount of autonomy to handle their cases in the way they see fit. And what we've seen, the defense bar that is, have seen over the years is a failure on the part of U.S. attorneys' offices and sometimes the Department of Justice to enter into very serious situations. I myself have been somewhat awed by the power that one single assistant United States attorney has. Obviously, if you have a good person in that position and you have tight supervision and strong professional ethics and a lot of review of the actions of that person, hopefully all of the right things will be done. But it does boil down to the discretion of individuals and individual offices. And so, in some cases, or in a theoretical sense, if an assistant U.S. attorney or if a U.S. attorney wanted to go after someone and wanted to put on a case, at least a probable cause sort of case in order to bring charges, that indeed could happen. And then when you couple that with the restrictive discovery rules in federal court and the federal sentencing guidelines, and you pile on a number of charges, a person may throw in the towel and plead guilty. It can happen. I'm not saying that it does happen or it does happen frequently, but theoretically it is a possibility.
That is what makes it so frightening at the federal levels, because it's so easy to get indicted. And once one is indicted, the chances of one going to prison are extremely high. And there's so little checks and balances at the federal level on indictments. You can indict a ham sandwich, and many ham sandwiches are serving prison time.
You can watch this program in its entirety as a Full Disclosure subscriber, or you can purchase the DVD on our website. Full Disclosure will continue to investigate and explore the integrity of our federal courts to assure you get the accurate news behind the news.